Hi, my name is Nat, and this is assignment 1A, the report project planning proposal presentation for the Royal Botanical Gardens of Victoria. After doing a fair amount of research into the branding and the business identity of the company, I kind of just wanted to extend their vision that they had, that is focusing on conservation, science, and education with the community. And I think that sharing that knowledge um, and their values is quite important. So I've put a focus on that and attempted to use color as a way to engage. So, looking at descriptors from sustaining plants, communities flourishing, vision for landscaping and contribution, responsibility, biodiversity, changing things for the better and in a positive sense, inventive, enthusiastic. All of these words are really positive and influential. From looking at the original color palette that was being used for the branding identity for the botanical gardens on their website, I really enjoyed seeing their vivid palette that was being used. It's really bright, it's really fun, it's really modern. And so I intentionally wanted to extend off of that instead of working in your usual neutral color palette, which I thought was going to come across as very generic. I think to complement the palette that I want to use, I'm also looking at heavy block, loud, bold bits and pieces. So, including the typography, I thought that a sans serif, heavier weight, going for like a Helvetica. So, I've chosen a Newhouse Grotesque. And my illustration inspiration, with more of a hand drawn, creative design, was what I was looking for to kind of imitate Melbourne itself in terms of its graffiti, its creative outlets, it's all about the arts. So I wanted to try and replicate that in a sense in like that vibrant, colorful way instead of focusing on the botanicals or a neutral color palette or a natural color palette. I really wanted to head towards something that was really bold and energetic and urban. The grid system for the grid design that I'm going to use is 12 columns and 16 rows. I've already said that visually perceiving this space with legibility and flexibility I think will be important, but just making it nice and easy to read and flow through. This gives a better indication of how the type and the image, like the bold illustration, the bold color, and the simplistic type, how they work together. I have since changed my font that I would be using in terms of the subject and body text, and I'm changing it to Acumen, which again is still another serif, but we needed to have two different types of font, so that's what I'm using, as well as the Newhouse Grotesque, which is incredibly similar to a Helvetica. I did also go through a process of looking at a different way to try and express a different direction, and I went in a cooler direction with it as well. So black font, a black type, and darker contrasting backgrounds and things. And then I sort of decided that it wasn't really giving the right kind of vibe or the right energy. It was more something that was a bit more moody and dramatic, and that's not what I was heading for. So I think the color definitely helps get across that feeling that you get when you're in a natural space. So these bright colors that I've chosen, I think, are the right ones. And these are some of my final pitch ideas for the front cover and back cover design. The rest is coming together quite well. I've done a full layout of how and where I want my images and where I want my text. I'd given myself a little bit of extra maneuver room in terms of pages, because I would like to be able to have that legibility and flow. Be a little bit more gentle and easy to read, easy to get through without it being too information dense and too packed. So just as a final slide, this is giving you a little bit more context to how the vision's working out. I'm really enjoying the way that such a large, bold type is giving me an opportunity to use it as design. I'm kind of mixing between the illustration and the text as both an opportunity to kind of create some interesting designs. It's going really well, and I'm quite happy with the progress with the color palette especially is really, really pretty. And even though it has like a 70s vibe, it's coming across as very modernized and a little bit more urban compared to using something, like I said, that was probably a bit more generic or expected in terms of a neutral color palette, like a natural one.